for instance, to look at the case of Okoboy. We'll come to Koliklote to look at the case of Ninoy, my man. Ninoy is contesting elections on Saturday. We'll look at Odududio, where there's a lot of consternation going on there. The NDC candidate, Mr. Yaboy, has been disqualified. Fifi Kwete has issued a statement why he was disqualified. But Yaboy is angry, his supporters are angry, and they are vandalizing things over there. We'll look at the state of Odududio as the MPP goes to Congress on Saturday to elect their parliamentary candidate. PCs, they call them. So that's another big story coming. We're taking at least 10 of them. Eugene Ayin, the president's director of communication, is contesting in Ewutu Senya, where Hannah Tete's younger sister defeated George Anda in 2020 after George Anda had defeated the senior Tete, Hannah, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, in 2016. So that's a constituency to keep watch. And then Cape Coast South. The results in Cape Coast South in 2020 is a tiny little bit. Ricketts Hagen will be watching closely how the MPP selects its candidate on Saturday. All of that is coming up on the touchscreen for our third story. And our final story tonight, one of our producers will mount the touchscreen, Maureen, to tell us what the High Court said about the so-called side chick and the bank boss and the car. What did the High Court say? We'll have a presentation on that. So that's a big good evening, Ghana, coming to you on Casual Thursday. We'll start with Kisei Ajabin in the big fight. Now, we take a short break. When we are back, Mohammed Amin Anta will be with us in our first story. Welcome to Good Evening Ghana is live.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh bread.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matias.
Cycle.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me, Judy said we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasan. Kile hosing. Cal 360 did the one. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ampedu.
Good afternoon, Mr. Asari.
How is business doing?
My business is collapsing.
Why is your business collapsing?
I sold my products and services to my clients on credit, and my debtors are not paying their debts.
Have you heard of Rosic Consult Limited, a debt recovery company operating in all the 16 regions of Ghana?
Not at all.
Mr. Ampedu, all you need to do is to contact them on their customer service line. I recommend Rosic Consult Limited, a debt recovery company to financial institutions, businessmen and businesswomen, other companies, and also individuals. Rosic Consult has 98.4% debt recovery rate. We have professional debt recovery managers. You are assured of swift debt recovery. No recovery, no commission. For Rosic Consult Limited, no more write-offs. And we pre-finance the recovery ourselves.
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ikropong. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ikropong right after the Latte Junction, or in Ebri near the Ebri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
A banner high sense fridge, any freezer range now. A demonstronko. No cranny say high sense fridge, any freezer dear. Hey papa. A che. Entwe nyinam kanea na bo no so de da fon boko. Fridge ana freezer no size ben na ope. Model ben na ope. Ye woni nyina bi wo ho ma ho. Ye wo water dispenser de, ice maker, and your double draw. Ye wo inverter technology wo. Eno kire say de nyinam kanea no be kosoro aba fon bia. Ense wo fridge ne da. Hisense fridge fufure de aba ne de edu twam. E wo screen mu a ebua ma ye niam bebre wo wujade. Enya afi na abetwetwe niam bi atata fridge no. Emra wo de ade egu fridge mu a na ice ya chi no na wo yi a enyi no. Etwam. Hisense the frost free fridge aba. Ayaka yo. Say Hisense nko na ma 5 years manufacturer defect warranty. Hisense everyday prices for everyday people.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatments like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness, so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go Amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is
Customer.
Nadabena minka me papa. Mika 10 Ghana.
10 Ghana.
10 Ghana cedis.
Na no dia, say na obenya.
10 Ghana cedis no. Me dia. 54,000 Ghana cedis.
54,000.
540 million.
Yeah. We are the one na me ka me di ehun.
Yeah. Ene na giga ade tena we. Tena wa boki. Draw no na asase no we. Ma me nie volume.
Customer. One of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now. Or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Original 91.9 FM, Original TV, na afenso no Metro TV, and na airto nsa afre agidifo nyina. Ese won meka ye ho na empaibo nante a yede be hihye so efieda December bosomida edikan. Won fimpim bienu ene aduonu mihensan mu a eba kwaye oman mu nyina. Ekwiafo eda mekire National Farmers Day no won meka ye ho na sa adwumadie no entumi nkoso.
Ene nti ye bompa ye anante akai emofra akonso modam no eyiriye ahomadisua. Ye kire se kakra bia ensa eniema bia wo bia no obetimi ede abeso yasene famomo line no eye 0548390970 0548390970 na se wo sanitary pad entade ensa dokodoko anase sika fa beso yasene se ne yebeya yebema wono mu a ene wo mani atutu akom nsem no wo nso ebesere
shane so ese dwumede kese be hyase anopa no nsia ede afi Obrasport e wo Kwame Nkrumah Circle na ye nantimu a na sofu peni dwumede kese odi animu eye Apostle Sacred Solomon Odro ono ena chese dwumede kese obedi eye animu ama asofofo afofro nso edo omonta akire aboa
iba bebrenya mbofo wa brabo shasia.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you very much. And sorry about the long break. We need it, don't we? Okay. Why we take the break is because we have to make money. And the one who looks after our money is in the studio. Mohamed Amin Anta. He used to look after our energy. Now he looks after money. Honorable Minister of State, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paul.
How was Parliament last week? Was it hot?
Well, I think that was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, when we the motion for the approval of the budget was to be voted on. There was drama, but as far as we are concerned, when the speaker put the question, the voice vote was conducted, and the speaker ruled that the ayes had it, and we were the ayes, supporting the approval of the budget. And so later on, the speaker said his ruling was challenged. And we know our orders, our standing orders, that you have to first of all challenge the ruling before you ask for an alternative voting. The minority actually asked for a head count, but we did not hear any challenge on the ruling. And you have to challenge it before you ask for a head count. But later on, we were even more challenged because the speaker, instead of granting the head count, as was demanded by the minority, rather asked for a division. And by division, he wanted to mention the names of MPs to vote. That is different from head count. Head count is where we all get up to be counted. And a division is where our names are mentioned. So even the speaker moved away from what the minority was asking for.
So where are we now? When are we going to see? When are we going to see something?
So we thought it was abuse of rules. And that was what we did not want to be part of. And so as far as we are concerned, we have indicated, our leadership has announced to the whole world that the budget in our view was passed until the ruling of the speaker is overturned.
So has the committee started looking at the various aspects of the budget? Or you have to do the macro one first?
Yes. You first of all have to vote on the principles of the budget. And that is what we did yesterday. And then next week or so, we'll start looking at the estimates for the various MDAs, after which we will look at appropriation bill, which then will mandate or sanction spending by government. So
I see.
We still have a very important
a few weeks, a few days to go.
Yes.
What are the big positives from the budget?
Well, and your question is very interesting, and that is why I am even confused why the minority will want to vote against the budget. Because they have been crying louder than the people of Ghana, that they love the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana are suffering. Yet, if you don't approve the budget, we will not be able to pay salaries to the people of Ghana. Teachers will not be paid salaries. The military will not be paid salaries. Doctors will not be paid salaries unless the budget is approved. So if you love Ghanaians and you are
but they said there are things about the budget they don't like.
Yes, but whether they don't like it or not, if they don't approve it, they want Ghana to become ungovernable. Because can you imagine we don't pay salaries for 1 month? All salary workers will rise up against the government. This country will become ungovernable. And so it is not just because they don't like the budget, but it's because they want this government to look bad. Because they want power. They are desperate for power. But they want to punish the people of Ghana to get power. And that is not going to happen. Because this budget is a very great budget. People are crying for roads. This budget is seeking to allocate so much money for road infrastructure. 3 billion Ghana cedis allocated to the Ministry of Roads. In addition to that, we're making room for another 11 billion cedis of arrears to be cleared. Half of these arrears are roads. So about 6 billion Ghana cedis. In addition to 3 billion Ghana cedis allocated to the Ministry of Roads, you are going to have 9 billion Ghana cedis, unprecedented in the history of our country, to be committed to road infrastructure. And then you say you don't want to approve this, while the people of Ghana are.
And some of these roads have already been done. That's why the arrears are.
That's where the arrears are. But there will be new roads that will be constructed. Since the year of roads was declared by Mr. President, so many road projects are going on around the country. And we have to be able to pay.
So you are talking Swami Interchange, East Legon Interchange,
yes.
Tamale Roads, Kintampo Roads.
Yes. So if you love the people of Ghana, some people are demonstrating because their roads are bad. And the government is bringing a budget that will do the roads. And you say the budget is bad. And because of that, you want to disapprove.
By the way, the other day,
people
demonstrated and came to my house in Teshi about the road. Part of it has been done. So congratulations to the government.
Yes.
The long road, what we call the red road from the first junction all the way to Greda Estates, has been done.
Yes.
But a few more needs to be done.
Yes,
but that has been done.
Well, that's very significant. But when contractors have done work, they have to be paid.
Yes.
If they are paid, they also can pay their workers.
And the Labadi Teshi Nungwa highway going to the interchange at Nungwa is also long going. It's taking a bit of time.
On site.
About
many
70% has been done.
Yes. And apart from these major highways, there are community roads.
Yes, which are
go
very
in between Accra, Umasi, Tamale, in many places. You will see a lot of road projects, and the contractors have to be paid. Now, this minority doesn't want us to pay the contractors. Now, come to social interventions. LEAP, we have doubled LEAP. LEAP goes to the poorest segments of our society. And so if you are a social democratic party, one will expect that if you reject the budget at all, you will not reject the allocation.
Some people are listening, they are hearing LEAP for the first time. What is LEAP?
LEAP is livelihood empowerment against poverty.
What does it do to people?
And that allocates some money to very vulnerable segments of our society, very poor, deprived people are supported by the government to be able to meet their basic needs. Okay? And so government has been providing this money. But in this budget, for the first time, we've doubled the LEAP. And not just LEAP, we've also doubled school feeding program. School feeding program has helped with increasing enrollment in our schools. It has also helped in improving the nutritional value of the children, what they eat in school. As a result of this, we have found it to be one of the most socially important programs any government can introduce. In this budget, it's being doubled, okay? If you come to look at capitation grant, we are doubling capitation grant. National Health Insurance Scheme is being given money more than they have ever been given in our history since it was created. Now, all these allocations are going to serve vulnerable people in our country because they are social interventions. And that is the departure from previous IMF programs. IMF programs are always associated with hardship, austerity and hardship. This government has done something different. We have negotiated all these social interventions in the IMF program, as a result of which the budget has to reflect what we have negotiated. Therefore, increasing allocation to all these social interventions in order to cushion the poor and protect the poor in our society. So that, unlike other IMF programs that has increased hardship and the suffering of the people, this time round, we want to protect the society, the people who are very vulnerable in our society. And
even though you're under an IMF program.
An IMF program. And you want to vote against such a budget because you don't like it.
Well, they talk about tax rebates for companies, and they don't seem to like that. What's that about?
Well, tax reliefs. This budget is also significant in the sense that, Ghanaians have been crying about being overtaxed, and therefore where government wants to grow the economy, certain industries are supported through tax relief. Okay, for example, we are providing relief for rental, for property rentals, which used to be 15%. Now it is being reduced to 5%. That is a relief we are providing for those who are renting property, housing, etc., etc. We're providing relief for those who want to invest in renewable energy. And so the import duty on renewable, on solar buses, for example, electric buses, is being removed by this budget. And those that
bring buses in,
yes,
to revitalize the public transport sector.
Public transport sector, so that we use electric cars, which are environmentally, are sustainable.
And therefore, you don't buy petrol.
Yes, you don't buy petrol.
So to be cheaper.
Yes, and those who are bringing in materials, raw materials to manufacture, assemble vehicles here, electric vehicles here, they are also being given tax waivers. This and many other reliefs are being provided, including the minimum wage. The tax on the minimum wage is also being removed. And therefore, if a government is doing things like that to support the industrial, economy of our country, one should laud the government rather than attempting to vote against such a budget, which is providing these incentives to businesses.
That's very interesting. Somebody told me that the price of cement was coming down today as a result of the tax relief that have been announced, and that's significant if that's true.
Well, Paul, I haven't seen the figure, but I will not be surprised, because one of the major factors that account for increase in the price of cement is depreciation. The cedi becoming weaker against the dollar, because cement production is heavily import dependent. Most of the materials that are used are imported. And so once the cedi has been strong, has remained strong against the dollar, and I'll give you the figures. For example, year to date, from January to date, the cedi has depreciated by about 25%. Last year by this time, it depreciated by about 54%. And that is why when we say we've turned the corner, we have turned the corner. Because look at such a jump, a huge, decrease in the depreciation. But
well, somebody will say that you occasioned the problem yourself. You took the dollar from 4 and you managed to have the dollar at 11. So if you have depreciated by 25%, it's up to you.
No, it is not us. Our economy was faced with serious challenges. When we talk about COVID, people say we are overusing COVID, but that is the reality. Rishi Sunak, the British Prime Minister, last week was talking about how COVID has devastated the UK economy.
Yes, and for which reason he needs to raise money from visa fees.
Yes.
He needs to raise £1 billion.
Of course. And the Russia-Ukraine war has affected us. Food prices. Look at our food basket. A lot of the food that we eat are imported. And so when you have all these prices increasing abroad and they are imported into our country, that is imported inflation. But also it affects our cedi, because we have to change our cedi to the dollar to be able to import these commodities into our country. And so it's not caused by us, but as a responsible government, when you are faced with challenges, you face the challenges head on. You address the challenges, and that is why we are addressing the challenge. If you take January out, February to date, the cedi has depreciated only by about 6.5%.
Oh, January was the main one.
Yes.
January carried most of the 25% depreciation.
Yes, exactly, about 22% in January. So from February to date, it's about 6.5%. And so if cement prices are going down, and I don't expect only cement prices to go down, I expect the price of many other commodities to go down, because the cedi has been relatively stable.
What about this?
It's performed better than many currencies across the world. Remember sometime when Bloomberg said that Ghana cedi was the worst performing cedi. Everybody was shouting, oh, the government is not doing well. The same Bloomberg has pronounced that Ghana cedi this time around is the best performing currency in Africa and the developing world. People are quiet about that.
We haven't heard it.
Yes, Bloomberg, people are quiet about that. And so this economy is going to be stronger and stronger. Look at growth, for example. We were projected to grow at 1.5% this year. Half into the year, we grew by 3.2%. Last year, around the same time, we grew by 2.9%. So that's a strong rebound in growth. And if somebody says that the economy is not recovering, we are not turning the corner, then that person is playing to the gallery. That person is not looking at the data. Data doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie.
But data doesn't come into the pocket.
Yes, but data is important to the extent that it provides the macro stability through which growth can be enhanced. And that is what will bring money into the pocket.
So that the process to bring money into the pocket has started?
It has started. It has started because all the fundamentals I have just presented to you. I mean, look at inflation also, for example. Inflation has come down from about 54% by end 2022. Today it's about 35.2%, and we expect it to go down. We are on a disinflationary path. We expect it to go down. And that is why the Bank of Ghana just last week maintained the policy rate, because the disinflation path is continuing. And we are going to go eventually to a single-digit inflation by the year 2027, something we have achieved before. We achieved the longest single-digit, the longest time of single-digit in the history of our country in 2017, 2018, 2019,
How long
and
was
2020.
it? Was it
3 years.
18 months?
Yes, 3 years of single-digit inflation.
17, 18, 19?
Yes, 18, 19, 20. Single-digit inflation.
18, 19, 20?
Yes.
Single-digit?
Yes.
Throughout those 3 years?
Yes. The longest time we have had single-digit inflation. And this same government did it. So if this government did it at the time, why do you think we cannot do it again?
Okay, let's move to another matter. This is about the importation of rice, sugar, commodities. The minority is concerned that you are restricting this importation to a licensing regime, which then they fear will be corrupted to cronies and political party apparatchiks. They are not happy with that. What's that policy about?
Well, I think we should put this in proper context. Countries that are heavily dependent on imports suffer from currency depreciation, they suffer from productivity, they suffer unemployment, etc., etc. Because the domestic economy is not going to grow. Industries are not going to grow. And therefore, any country that is seeking to support domestic production, that should be supported. Such policy must be supported. And so to restrict imports in favor of domestic production is about the best policy in a country.
So does it mean no one will import rice anymore?
People will import rice, but it has to be dependent on our domestic production capacity. If we can produce, why should we? And so the minister has to decide, looking at the data on domestic capacity production, vis-a-vis what we need to import. And that would be the determination, that would be the determinant factor as to how much can be imported. And I don't think that is a bad policy. We should support government.
But the question about the importation, the license regime for importation will be corrupted in favor of cronies and party apparatchiks.
Yeah, I think it's in our constitution, I think it's Article 296 of the Constitution.
The discretionary.
Yes. It also requires regulations, to be passed to govern the exercise of discretion. And so those were the regulations that were taken to Parliament,
Okay, to guide the process of the license. So I cannot come to you and say, I was your friend at Kivas, can you give me license? Yes. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, the process must be transparent because the exercise of discretion must be candid, and transparent.
Not capricious.
Not capricious. It has to be guided by rules. And those rules are the regulations that the minister took to Parliament for Parliament to approve.
Sanitary ware, you have taken off the taxes for domestic production. Can domestic production satisfy the demand of sanitary ware in Ghana?
Oh, yes. We have looked at
with
the
a population
data.
of 30 million, majority of whom are women.
Yes, we've looked at the data. If you just allow me to make reference to the data I have here. We've looked at the data and we were convinced that we have enough domestic capacity to produce sanitary pads in Ghana. There are about 2 companies that are producing sanitary pads. And then these companies have demonstrated that they have capacity to produce it on the domestic front. For example, Sunda FM, they have an installed capacity.
Modulation, a radio station.
Sunda F, no, not F, no, it's Sunda FM Manufacturing Limited.
Okay.
They manufacture soft care brand.
Okay.
I think Cattle, QT and Space brands.
No, we don't want to know all that. Otherwise, we'll send them an invoice. But just tell us what they do.
So they have an installed capacity of 900 million pieces per year. Okay. At the moment, they are doing just 600 million pieces.
Oh, I see.
So there is room. There is capacity to do additional 300 million pieces. And this company employs 854 people.
Oh, that's
so if they were allowed, if they were given the capacity, the support to produce all the 900
200
million
more people.
Yes, they will hire more people. And so if you waive import duty for them so that they can be able to support our economy, not just by meeting the domestic demand, but also creating jobs and creating wealth for our economy. Is it a wrong thing to do? Then you come to another company, Faye International Limited. You know, they have installed capacity of 60 million pieces per year. They are doing just 18 million pieces. So is government responsible when government, removes VAT and other taxes on domestic production to allow them to expand because there is capacity, domestic capacity to meet our demand? Is that a crime?
And to employ more people.
Yeah, and to employ more people. Paul, tell me, is it a crime?
And to buy more raw materials from Ghana that they need.
Yes, from Ghana. Is that a crime to do that?
It shouldn't be, but have you explained to the minority properly?
Yeah, but of course, we sit in the finance committee with them. We analyze all these things. But for them, it is about playing to the gallery.
It's about 2024.
It's about 2024. But we are determined to govern this country to meet the aspirations of the Ghanaian people. Yes, we have faced challenges, and we have admitted that, but we are not a government that will run away from those challenges. And that is why we are addressing the issues head on. And Ghanaians will see, as we are rebounding, the economy is rebounding, and the macro stability is being restored. We have also launched, through this budget, our new growth strategy that will bring heavy investment into the blue economy. The blue economy, I'm talking about marine economy, anything that has to do with the sea, like fishing, like shipping industry, growing maritime industry. We are going to heavily invest in the green economy. And here I'm talking about agriculture. Agriculture Ministry has been allocated 3 billion Ghana cedis. That has never happened. And they have just launched the Planting for Food Phase 2. We're going to support them to do infrastructure, irrigation infrastructure. And also, we are going to invest in the digital economy, through technology.
We need that.
Tourism is going to be supported. So our new growth strategy will create jobs, will grow the economy based on the macro stability we are achieving as a country. And Ghana will be a different story in the near future.
That's very interesting. We're running out of time at this stage. Somebody said I should ask you, Honorable Minister, what happened to the provision of loans for young people and all of that 3 budgets ago the minister talked about?
Well, it's happening. We've been doing the pilot. And this budget, we are going to expand. We're going to scale up. So 200 million has been allocated, and we are also going to leverage another $200 million from the World Bank to support YouStart program.
YouStart, yeah.
Yes,
so it's ongoing.
Yeah, we've done.
You have people who can come to the studio and talk about being YouStart people?
Exactly. We've done pilot, and it's been wonderful. The story has been very good. Okay? And this year, next year, we're going to scale up. The youth will be empowered because we believe that the Ghanaian spirit, is in them. That can-do spirit is in them. The hard work associated with Ghanaian youth is in them. And therefore, once we support them and empower them, they can take this country to another level. And this brings me to the 1 trillion.
Yes, that's the final pass.
Ghana city.
Is it true that the economy has been now grown from 200 billion to 1 trillion?
Yes, actually from 219 billion cities in 2016 to grow to about 1 trillion Ghana cedis by the end of 2024. That is our projection. It's currently around 870 billion. And we think that by the end of next year, given the program, particularly our growth program that we have launched, we can grow the size of the GDP to 1 trillion. People have problems with that. But this is very significant. It's not just historically significant, but it's also significant as an economy because most of the economic indicators are measured against nominal GDP. Whether you are talking about deficit, whether you are talking about debt. And so the larger your nominal GDP, the more sustainable your deficit, the more sustainable your debt. So if I see an economist saying that this is meaningless, then that economist needs to go back to school. Okay? Some people have said that it's because of depreciation. Now, if you account for depreciation by using the dollar, let's look at the performance of the economy. In 2016, the dollar value of the GDP was $56 billion at the exchange rate of that time, $3.1 to cedis to the dollar. By next year, one would have achieved the 1 trillion. We would have grown the economy, assuming we maintain the exchange rate, the current exchange rate of 12 cedis to the dollar. That will be around 83 billion US dollars.
Yeah, so that in dollar terms, there's still a growth.
We would have added $27 billion
in 8 years.
In 8 years. Now, if you use an exchange rate of 14 cedis to a dollar, that brings you to about $78 billion. We would have added 15 billion US dollars to the economy. So if you don't want to use the 1 trillion at all, look at the dollar value and see how this government has increased the. Yeah.
If you like, make it even 14.
14. You're adding $15 billion in 8 years. That's unprecedented. So if every
where is the
government,
ambition coming from?
So if every
is
government,
it tourism? Is it
it's
foreign businesses that will repatriate their funds so that we don't feel it?
Of course, you are talking about growing the economy from 2016 to now. Yeah. Don't forget that the period of 2017 to 2020, during which we recorded higher growth rates of an average of 7%, was also the period of lower inflation, the single inflation that I talked about. The last 2 years, inflation has gone up. And so people say that because inflation is 35, how do you grow the economy to 1 trillion? But don't forget that the period of the higher growth that we recorded, 2017 to 2020, average 7%, was also the period of the single-digit inflation. So 2 years,
double gain.
So 2 years of such an increase in inflation cannot undo the real effect of the growth.
That the growth was so significant if the growth was so significant, why did we end up in IMF?
Yeah, but Paul, I've just talked about the difficulties that we have faced. Countries that have grown very high, when you have such a shock that the whole world faced, we had to grow at 0.5% during the COVID period. Kenya grew at negative 2%.
During the same period?
Kenya, during the same period. Okay? Now, I want to make this important point. If all governments were to be adding to the size of the GDP, the way we have done, Ghana would not be where it is. What is John Mohammed's record? From 2013, the GDP in dollar terms was $64 billion. By 2026, when John Mohammed left office, it came to the
16.
Yes, 2016. It came to the $56 billion that I quoted.
It went down.
A decline of $8 billion.
In 4 years?
In 4 years. A decline of $8 billion. Yes. And so these are the people who want Ghanaians to give them the opportunity to govern this country. They do not appreciate an increase in the size of the GDP. Yet when they had the opportunity, we actually recorded a decline of about $8 billion United States dollars.
Well, I have to bring them here to come and corroborate these figures. It's quite shocking to me that a government will preside over the decline of the GDP value. How does that happen? Yes. Businesses fold up or what?
Because if you account for depreciation, it may have been growing in nominal terms, but in dollar terms, it was declining.
But dollar terms is the real test.
Yes.
What will be your last word, Minister?
Yes. The people of Ghana should bear with us. We've gone through difficult times, but the road is clear, as demonstrated by the recovery of the economy and as demonstrated by the signs of stability that we are seeing. They should have patience with us. We know that there are difficulties, but we will go out of these difficulties together. The government of President Nana Akufo-Addo is addressing the issues. Will continue to address these issues. My minister, the Minister for Finance, have his eyes open on the issues and all the necessary measures that we will implement to ensure that we go back to the pre-COVID times of economic growth, of inflation, of accelerated development for the people of Ghana. We will do that. We will take those measures.
Thank you very much. That's Mohamed Amin Anta, Minister of State and Minister of Finance. Maybe let's take the text messages, let the Minister hear and see whether there will be some reaction. Otherwise, after that, we'll take a break and then we'll get to the Kisi Ajamin story coming soon. Antoinette first.
So here what our people are saying. Yeah, Owusu Japan says, Paul, I think we can actually amend the e-levy of 1% to 1 cedi per all transactions. we can actually multiply 1 cedi to the trillion that the Honorable Minister is talking about. Park Coffee also says we should, as a nation, force our industries to produce. The lazy approach of import should cease. COVID should teach us lessons that we can't depend on other countries. Now, Edward Duboza says, I will not buy any empty NPP propaganda this time. Timothy Baumia is taking you straight into opposition. Ghanaians have suffered enough and we do not celebrate mediocrity. Dash Tinkon also says there are 2 breakthroughs for Ghana. The first one is the budget and the next one is the restrictions on imported goods. And lastly, Mohammed says, good evening, Mr. Paul. I'm monitoring you live from Karaga. Greetings to our hardworking NP and Minister of State in charge of Finance. We are ready to give him 4 more. We love our MP so much. Once again, massive endorsement awaiting him coming 7 December 2024. What do you have for us, Sarah?
Okay, so coming from Gordon Jima, he says, you are doing a great job, Apostle Paul. And from Parkofi, he says, ban all those items that can be produced in Ghana. How can we get folks employed if common water is imported? And coming from Imo Rashid, he says, Mashallah, Dr. Anta has made my day. He certainly would be the next finance minister. And from Eddie White, he says, nice show, good evening, Ghana. What do you have for us, Fatih?
Okay, so this is coming from Samuel Ofosu, and he says, good evening, Paul and your lovely disciples. The ex-president Mahama and his NDC fraternity have no goodwill and wishes for the ordinary Ghanaian. The only thing they can do better is meetings upon meetings to discuss how to rig elections. I want to ask Mr. Mahama if he were an ordinary Ghanaian in his era of presidency and how he cheated the economy, will he have the desire to vote for the Mahama of 2024 to be the president to manage our economy again? Now, this is also coming from Gastiman. He says, I won't blame the minority because after all, they are doing everything possible to paint the government very negative, and that's the key point of Ghanaian politics. The lessons for NPP is to stay focused and united and also allow people to choose the MPs they want but not to impose them on voters. Lastly, coming from Junior Akbar Tamale, he says, I always maintain that NDC is our problem in this country. Like we do away with them, Ghana will move forward, but with NDC in this country, I don't think Ghana will go forward. Dr. Amin, keep it up. Good people of Kariga is very proud of you. Angelo.
Right. Everyone watching us from Accra says he has a bit of criticism. He says, I strongly believe that the minister in charge of finance and governor in charge of Bank of Ghana do not feel the economic pain and struggle of the people with regards to market situation where consumers can no longer buy to their satisfaction, where prices of goods and services keep skyrocketing. My point is that the government should start creating local markets within the district offices or must find a strong mechanism to bring down prices of goods and services in the market. Now, Junior Akbar says one of the best MPs in the northern region, Dr. Mohammed Amin, we are very proud of you. Keep it up. Now, this message says, good evening, Paul. Anta has made my evening a great one. The minority are only trying to find their way through to power, but it will not work. Back to you, Paul.
Okay, that seems good. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We'll take a short break. We'll continue with the program on Good Evening Ghana is live. We'll be mounting the touch screen very soon. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Good luck. We'll be following what happens in Parliament. After the break, Good Evening Ghana continues and is live.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and elevators, the elevator people.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Masana go, masana. Say, you see you go cashless. Say cashless ya. You say you can be a wish office. You see the power up back. And also another you be beer. Set up auto credit. Set up auto credit and no one issue. So what problem be up as a issue for everything? He answer over power up so. And one on the two assembly up the copy. So only smartphone and money how. And there's only data and so and it's you will bring. And one said, who may know young phone. Oh, sorry. Who may know phone. No one direct *226# you are through there. You see the power up no mobile money, Visa card, Mastercard, a BH you let me see you see the power up. I want to show a down some simple
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ekropong. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ekropon right after the Latte Junction or in Ebri near the Ebri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
Yamawakwaba, the button Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories. Ahadie, a bano KSC near Wakadia. Ubenya Biabiwaha. Kabian in the house, any new here. Yansu ye were winning the four, or best son we ye amount. Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories, ye you did ye. Aye 24/7. Ye says you engine, brake, battery, yes, a sour tie. Say bano car wash dia. Jewo abefun fidelity says steamer ye the whole car engine abra nsuo car engine nim ye san ye detailing metre say ye betwitwu car no mu ba bia ma ye wi a ye san polish car na ma kama enye we no monko ye san to car batteries tires rims any de keke kan Manadum Auto Fix and Accessories ema o car ensi ne dedem na enwu adwuma ma o hwehwe ye chira kwan wo dansoma na sorry dan ho a ene KFC bon hwanimu e won kran se wo information anansem bi se bia 024-651-9369. Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories. Okwan so yonkwo papa.
We are back bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bets. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the Partial Daily Jackpot. You always get way more with Betway. As you can see.
This advert has been vetted and approved by
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fat missy way.
Repacho Bantama.
Matasi.
It's her smile, her fresh breath.
Me, Jidi said we used to Kel 360 toothpaste.
Mekai, Cal 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia, Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasan. Kile kosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Original 91.9 FM, Original TV, na afenso the Metro TV, and na airton sa afre agidifo nyina. Ese wo meka ye ho na empaibɔ nante a yede behyehyɛ so efieda December bosomida edikan. Won fimpim bienu ene aduonu mihensan mu a eba kwaye ɔman mu nyina. Akuafo eda bekyerɛ National Farmers Day no wo meka ye ho na sa adwumadie no entumi nkoso.
Enenti ye bompa ye anante akai emofra akosomodam no eyiriye ahomadisua. Ye kyerɛ sɛ kakra bia ensa eniema bia wo bia no obetimi ede abeso yasene famomo line no eye 0548390970 0548390970 na se wo sanitary pad entade ensa dokodoko anase sika fa beso yasene se ne be ya ye be ma wono mu a ennei wo mani atutu akom nsem no wo nso ebesere
hyane nso ese dwumede kese be hyase anopa nonsia ede afi obra sport e wo Kwame Nkrumah circle na ye nantimu a na sofo peni adwumade kese odi animu eye Apostle Sacred Solomon Odro ono ena chese dwumade kese obedi eye animu ama asofofo afoforo nso ede omonta akire aboa
ipa bebrenya mbofo wa proposhasia.
Okay, welcome again to the show. Thank you very much. Now, we are on the touch screen with this all-important matter. Good evening, Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, he's been saying something that's been very, very worrying. So he held a press conference. First, he showed up at the Supreme Court, and he withdrew his matter. We'll come to why he did that. Then he holds a press conference and says that people are telling him that the judiciary is against him. We have listened to everything he says. We have an opinion on this matter. Here is the editorial opinion montage. All right, welcome back to the show. So this is Kisi Ajabe, and he said something yesterday in a press conference that makes him one of the most dangerous minds for this together with Parliament after appearing before Parliament's Appointments Committee. That's the level of his authority. Now he says that whenever he is investigating something, he doesn't want the courts to have anything to say about it. That's so dangerous because tonight we're going to show you a lot about him. And it will show you the posture of the guy, the mindset that this guy is using to work. He's a danger to the democracy. He calls journalists in a press conference, knowing that the judiciary cannot call a press conference, knowing that the Supreme Court judges cannot call a press conference, knowing that the Court of Appeal judges cannot call a press conference. Then he calls a press conference and he spins out the matter to make himself look good. The same things we've been complaining about. Okay, let's start. So he says that he goes to court. Now, he's lost a few court cases, as it were. he went to court against Cecilia Dapaah. I'll come to the Constitution in a minute. He went to court against Cecilia Dapaah, and the court said that you cannot do that. How did the court say you cannot do that? The court said you cannot do that based on something. The court looked at the law and said you cannot do that. And he doesn't understand that because he says he wants to do it, he should be able to do it. That's all. That's the beginning and the end of the matter. I was listening to the PR of the Ghana Bar Association on Joy FM this evening. He made an important point that at least he should exhaust the court processes before he makes a press conference. You don't go to high court and lose and make a press conference. So he thinks that because he's special prosecutor, he should just be allowed to walk in. Now, I'm going to show you viewers tonight why he's wrong and why he's very, very, very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous to the sustainability of democracy. He's not about corruption at all. That's what people are saying. I don't know whether that's true, but people are suspecting that Kisi Ajabe is not about corruption at all. He's about something else. And I'll show you what they are pointing to. Whether they are right or wrong, I don't know. But this is what they are saying. I'm going to reveal a lot tonight, viewers. Just stay with us. Okay. So we're going to begin with this. Lord Acton, he died many years ago. And those of you who have studied any political science, sociology, anthropology, or law, you know Lord Acton. Lord Acton said something. He said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Why is that important? What is power, and who gives power? Power is not given illegally. Power is given legally. Power is given to the president by election. Power is given to the judiciary by appointment. Power is given to members of parliament by election. Power is given to authorities of state by appointment. So power itself is not bad. But Lord Acton pointed us to something. That power, when it's given to somebody, it has a potential to corrupt that person. And when the power is absolute, it corrupts him absolutely. That is why the judiciary are there. The president has power. The legislature has power. Chief executive of VRA has power. Managing director of another state institution has power. The office of the special prosecutor has power. All those powers are potentially corruptible. They can corrupt the individual. And when the power is absolute, that individual will be corrupted absolutely. That's what Lord Acton gave us. And what is the panacea to this? The panacea to this and the remedial measure to absolute power and power corrupting people is the judiciary. Because at the end of the day, it's the judiciary that makes the determination whether what the power has done is correct or what the power has done is wrong. So the power may have done something against somebody who is powerless. The power may have done something against somebody who is also powerful. Both of them, the powerless and the powerful, can show up at the court, make their case, and the court will make a determination whether that is correct or wrong. Anybody in authority who says, I don't like the judiciary looking at the things I'm doing, that person, like Kisi Ajabe, is dangerous to the society. And I'm worried that a journalist who attended the press conference did not point this out to him. That Kisi Ajabe, the reason why what the judiciary is doing is good. The reason why you should explore more of what the judiciary is doing is because we don't want Lord Acton's often quoted statement to happen in Ghana's democracy. That power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. What is he talking about? He is above the law. Okay, let's go to the constitutional articles. The preamble of the 1992 Constitution. Let's start with that. Okay, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. This is the preamble of the 1992 Constitution. The preamble is set out like the opening paragraph of the law, etc., etc. It says, in the name of the Almighty God, we the people of Ghana, in the exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality, of opportunity, and prosperity. Okay, so that's the preamble of the Constitution. Let's move from the preamble of the Constitution and come now to the judicial articles. Article 125. Let's start with that. Okay, Article 125. Put it on the screen. Let's read together. Justice emanates from the people of God. No, I was looking for the sovereignty emanates from the people. Can I see that, please? Put that on. Sovereignty emanates from the people of Ghana. That's the article I was looking for. Yeah, very important. The one you made me read is too long. What's this? In a spirit of friendship. Where is the sovereignty emanates from the people of Ghana? We, in the name of Almighty God, we, the people of Ghana, in exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings. Okay, let's move on. Let's see the next one. In a spirit of friendship and peace with all peoples of the world, and in solemn declaration. Yes, it's here. Okay. Freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. The principle that all powers of government spring from the sovereign will of the people. The principle of universal adult suffrage. Okay, so let's stay with that. The second part. This is all I wanted. Yes, so the last part. Viewers, let's have a look at it. Freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. The principle that all powers of government spring from the sovereign will of the people. Okay, come back to me. So that's what the preamble of the Constitution is. All powers of government spring from the will of the people. So anybody who is exercising a power of the government, that power that has been given to him springs out of the will of the people. Let's go to the judicial article now. You see it repeated there, the will of the people. Let's go to that very quickly. Okay, so that's Article 125 of the Constitution. We are still talking about Kissi Agyabeng's excesses and wanton disregard for law. That's what we're talking about. The special prosecutor, his excesses and his wanton disregard for law and his disregard for any forum that will ventilate the things he does. When a forum is created by the Constitution to ventilate the things he does, he says, I don't like it. That's what he says. He's dangerous to judiciary. And he's dangerous to democracy. Kissi Agyabeng is so dangerous to democracy. Now have a look at this. Justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. Let's read it again. It says, justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. That's what it says. The justice is emanating from the people. It will be exercised by the judiciary. But when Kissi Agyabeng does something and the judiciary says what you did is wrong, then he goes to hold a press conference. He's crying. He goes to hold a press conference, tell journalists that there will be corruption in Ghana because he wants to resign. He should resign and be investigated. And I'll tell you why he will be investigated. And the things that he's doing there, why he should be investigated. Today I'm coming with everything. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Article 1253. The judicial power of Ghana shall be vested in the judiciary. Accordingly, neither the president, nor parliament, nor any organ or agency of the president or parliament or a Kissi Agyabeng who is special prosecutor shall have or be given final judicial power. Viewers, have you seen that? This is the Constitution that they are teaching the students. It says that no one shall be given final judicial power except the judiciary. The president cannot constitute himself into a court and make a decision. So that means that whatever decision the president makes is subject to one last authority, which is the judiciary, if a Ghanaian feels that he has been aggrieved and he wants to check it. It's subject to that. For the president, for the parliament, for everyone. Everyone is subject to that. Kissi Agyabeng says he's not subject to that. Kissi Agyabeng, he doesn't want to be subject to that. So he thinks that there's something very, very wrong with the judiciary coming to do their work. And so he knows the judges don't do press conferences. He goes to sit down and do a press conference. You go to see Cecilia Dapa's money. No problem. The law allows you to do that. Cecilia Dapa goes to court and says the circumstance under which he sees the money is wrong. That's not what the law asks him to do. The court agrees with Cecilia Dapa at the high court level. You can go to Court of Appeal if you want. Then you can go to the Supreme Court if you want. He doesn't do that. He agrees and says, Cecilia Dapa, okay, come back for your money. You give the money, then as if he's doing a film. 3 minutes later, he says, come back, I've seized it. Cecilia Dapa goes to court again. Then he goes to court and says, no. I have arrested the process. I'm going to the Supreme Court in an interlocutory application to the Supreme Court. You go to the Supreme Court and he doesn't show up in court. Every day there's court. He's in China. He's in New York. Ask him. The journalist should have asked him whether he was in the Supreme Court building that day. Whether he was there. Whether he appeared before the judges. That's the questions the journalist should have been asking him. That did he appear before the judges? He comes to make this one-time cry-baby situation, and then it's all over media. The office of the special prosecutor says something. Office of the special prosecutor says he doesn't want to come under Article 125 of the Constitution. He is above the law. That's what he's saying. That he is above the law. So when he has done something, nobody should complain about it. Is that the Ghana that we're building from 1992? When we're running away from guns in 2000 as journalists, Kissi Agyabeng was not there. But he comes and says that I am the boss of the Constitution. The Constitution that so many people have fought after. Very soon we'll be burying Uncle Shea, Akoto Ampao, people like that. They fought for this Constitution so that there will be fairness, so that there will be balance, so that the judiciary will have the final authority in judicial matters. That neither the president nor parliament nor any other organ shall have the final say in judicial matters. Kissi Agyabeng says that he should have the final say because he is office of the special prosecutor. So when he does something, the Supreme Court shouldn't say anything. He goes to the Supreme Court to make an argument. Supreme Court begin hearing the matter and they are challenging, asking questions of him. And then he withdraws the matter. The Supreme Court didn't even have the opportunity to rule on the matter. He himself withdrew the matter. Then he goes to hold a press conference that judges are after me. Judges are against. I want to show you the videos of some of the things he said. That judges, somebody told me that judges are after me. I'll deal with it. All right, let's move on. So you have now seen why he's wrong. He's wrong because the Constitution says the judiciary shall have the final authority. And we have lived with this Constitution for 30 years. He says that because he sees somebody's property, and the Constitution says you cannot do that, then it means that the Constitution is fomenting corruption. And that without him, Ghana will be a corrupt society. Can you imagine that? Is it delusions of self-grandeur? I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's delusions of self, some deluded something. Because how can you, office of special prosecutor, think that you are above the law? So you are going to hold a press conference. That's really what he was telling the journalist. His press conference was to tell the journalist that he's above the law. That's what he was saying. And nobody asked him that, Mr. Special Prosecutor, what are you talking about? You went to court and lost the case, and therefore there will be corruption in Ghana. You went to court over the processes that you are undertaking. I'm going to give you a lot more. Now, they gave me this, but let me read it anyway, because I made the point of it. Chief Justice John Marshall Imabri Madison emphasized the role of the judiciary hundreds of years ago. He said it is emphatically the duty of the Judicial Department of State, this is the judiciary, to say what the law is. That those who apply the rule to particular cases must of necessity expound and interpret the rule. He said it is the role of the judges to interpret the rule. This is what the rule is. This is what the Act of Special Prosecutor says. This is what Kwesi Agyebeng did. Any Ghanaian can go to court and present to court that the way in which the Special Prosecutor investigated me was wrong. Now let's see what the court said about the Colonel Damoah matter. Let's see what the court said about the Colonel Damoah matter. Show me that. This is one of the things that is complaining about. The LaBianca, so-called LaBianca situation. The story says, High Court quashes OSP's report implicating Colonel Damoah in LaBianca. This Kwesi Agyebeng doesn't want that. Kwesi Agyebeng doesn't want this one. He wants the law says the article says the High Court quashes OSP reports. Now, this is a problem, you see, because Africa has had these difficulties where our democracy and our governance is focused on some men who feel that they are very powerful, and it's referred to former presidents, coup leaders, and all that. And that's why I say Kwesi Agyebeng is very dangerous. He's so dangerous that he's thinking of himself as some little god who has arrived and who must have power over the judiciary. We have had how many presidents in the Fourth Republic? 6 or so, 7 times there have been different kinds of presidents, but there are 3 of them. J.J. Rawlings, Professor Mills, J.A. Kufuor, John Mahama, Nana Akufo-Addo. All of them have been subservient to the judicial processes. Akufo-Addo has lost cases in the court. Put that on. I'll come back to this. Put that on. Akufo-Addo has lost cases in the court, hasn't he? Akufo-Addo wrote letters to remove Dom. Which one is this? Professor Appiah Etua versus the Attorney General. Yes, the Supreme Court ruled that the Imposition of Restrictions Act 2020 was unconstitutional. Akufo-Addo imposed Restrictions Act under COVID. Somebody went to court against the Attorney General. The person won the case. Even if this is not even sensitive, look at the Dom Level matter. I sat here and supported the decision of the president to get Dom Level out. The Supreme Court came back and said that it was wrong. The Supreme Court held that the forced retirement of the Auditor General ran contrary to the Constitution. That's what the Supreme Court is about. The Constitution, the Republican Constitution, fidelity to the Constitution. So this is in respect of the president. Most of those judges who gave this ruling were appointed by the president, but that doesn't matter because we are building a democracy. It doesn't matter. They ruled against the president. They ruled against His Excellency. They said, no, Mr. President, this one you are wrong. That's the society that we are building. Kwesi Agyebeng says that he is not in that category where when he does something, the court can look at it. The court shouldn't look at it. And if they look at it and they think what he did was wrong, then the court is against him and there will be corruption in Ghana. Who does he think he is? Does he drink water? Who does he think he is? That because he is special prosecutor, when he gives a ruling, the court shouldn't say anything about it. And then he collects journalists together and tells them this hogwash, this total hogwash. That's what he told the journalists, that he's above the law. That's what he said. I mean, he's lucky that if he held this press conference in 1998, he would have seen the questions that the journalists would have asked him. Because we would have been there to ask him questions that, what are you talking about? Do you mean that you are above the law? And nobody asked him that. He goes to cry in front of journalists and pretends to the general public that he's some messiah trying to resolve our corruption issues of 100 years, and the judiciary is frustrating him. So the general public should rise up against the judiciary. Is he all right? Is he really all right? Kwesi Agyebeng, is there something wrong with him? I mean, I cannot understand this. This is the president losing cases. Because of these things, where Africa's democracy always fails, because we don't focus on institutions, and we focus on some people. Some people think that they are some grand people. Barack Obama arrived here in 2009. I was in the conference center. I don't know where Kisia Jabin was in 2009. You should ask him. But I was in the conference center when Obama made this statement. It registered in my head. I've never forgotten about it. This is what Barack Obama said.
Africa doesn't need strong men. It needs strong institutions. Africa doesn't need strong men. It needs strong institutions. Africa doesn't need strong men. It needs strong institutions. Africa doesn't need strong men. It needs strong institutions.
I'm sorry for playing it so many times, but I wanted you to hear that. I sat there that day and I heard Barack Obama clearly. The guy sitting by me, next sitting to me, I think it was Dr. Kofi Amor or so. So we looked at each other, and then one of us, I don't remember, I whispered to him, he whispered to me that did Rawlings hear that? Rawlings was sitting in front of us. But this is the point. Barack Obama came here in 2009, how many years ago? And he told us that Africa, you are building a democracy, keep it like that. You don't need strong men, we need strong institutions. So the institutions of the judiciary have been doing their work. The judiciary is one of the most important institutions that have made our democracy survive. Since they started their rulings in 1992-93, the 31st December case, MPP versus IGP, MP versus GBC, the right to demonstrate, all of those epochal establishments that the Ghanaian judiciary has given to us as part of this constitutional march. Kisia Jabin wants to derail that only him, he is not part of that. He cannot be under the judiciary. He is above the judiciary because he's special prosecutor. Really? He's above the judiciary? When he does something, the judiciary shouldn't comment on it? My disappointment is with the media who sat there watching him spew out this hogwash to them without even looking at their constitution, the basic constitution, to tell him that Mr. OSP, Article 125 says this. What is your problem? They couldn't even ask that question. They were listening to him spew out the hogwash. This is a dangerous commodity to Ghana's democracy. Dangerous commodity. He thinks that he's above the law. This is how they start. This is how all the coups started. This is how they start. They start talking about being above the law. This is so dangerous. This guy should be looked at. He is very, very dangerous. If any institution of state thinks that he is above the judiciary, the president doesn't think he's above the judiciary, the vice president doesn't think so, the speaker doesn't think so. This man, he thinks that when he does something, the judiciary shouldn't look at it. Really? Kisia Jabin, he is above the constitution? Kisia Jabin, he is above the 1992 constitution that people like Akoto Ampao have fought for and died for? Kisia Jabin is above it? I was so disgusted when I heard this. A special prosecutor holds a press conference and says that the judiciary is coming after me. Play that tape where he talks about people told him something. Play it.
I have had several calls from well-meaning lawyers admonishing me that they have heard talk that our friends who have been elevated to the bench and presiding over cases in court do not take very kindly to criticism, especially of the public calling out variety as we do. And that if the office persists in the media releases, the judges will gang up against the office and throw out all our cases. Mind you, members of the press, collective admonition is from very senior and experienced lawyers who are men and women of the world. Collectively with the well-meaning lawyers who admonish me, we philosophize and wonder if our judges would do such a thing as gang up against the flagship public anti-corruption agency to scuttle its work for whatever reason. Our musings ran along the lines of, would that not defeat the fight against corruption?
Why? But why is he talking without energy? He seems to be lacking energy. What's wrong with him? Is it that he doesn't believe me? Was he lacking energy? He's holding the paper as if he's afraid of what he says. Is he lacking energy? He will lack more energy because he's dangerous to democracy. Did you hear him? He says that well-meaning people, do you know what? Does he know what well-meaning people have told me? I'm going to tell you. Well-meaning people have told me, but I don't believe it, that Kisia Jabin collects money. I don't believe it. I don't think it is true. I don't know why they are saying that, but these are the allegations that what he does is that when there's a case, he collects money. He doesn't do it himself, as they say. I don't believe it, but that's what they are saying. And he should be addressing that before the media. The allegations that is mounting, the allegations mounting upon the special prosecutor, that when he picks a case to investigate, you can pay them and they'll give you a favorable report. I don't believe it. But this is what people are saying. He should be addressing those allegations, wild as they are. And I'm sure that is not true. But this is what people are saying about him. Has he heard it? He says that people are telling him that the judiciary have ganged up against him. We are hearing, people are telling us that what he does at the Office of Special Prosecutor is not to prosecute at all. It's just to select cases where he thinks that he can exploit the difficulties of the accused persons so that he may take money. We don't believe that. We don't believe it. But that's what people are saying. That's what he should think about that. He should think about dealing with those allegations, because in this work that we all are, the narrative is sometimes more important than the truth. Because when I heard it was wild. How is he going to take money? I don't believe. I know him. I don't believe it. But these are the things people are saying. I'm saying this to tell him that you don't come and do a press conference and say that people have told you something, and you make it part of your press conference that people have told you that if you publish, the judges will gang up against you. And you tell people that in the press conference based on what people have told you. Do you know what people have told others that we haven't said? And I have heard this a long time. I didn't say it here. But because he has said what he has said, now I'm saying it, and he should check it. And there are more details I can bring out. But because we don't believe it, we don't do the details. We don't believe it. We don't believe it. But this is what people are saying. They are saying that he collects money. He has a gang, not he himself. They describe the details to us. He has a cabal. Now, I think that Kisi Ajaben should be asking the Attorney General to investigate these allegations so that he will come out clean. Because I believe he will come out clean. He should be telling, because if today the allegations about the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Attorney General will be capable of investigating it. There are such allegations against the modus operandi of the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ajaben. The modus operandi of the Special Prosecutor, there are allegations about it being called into question on very wild allegations, some of which I've told you. These allegations are unbelievable. But these are the allegations being spewed out against him. And then he comes on press conference and says, people, well-meaning people. The people who told us are well-meaning people. Some of them are priests, some of them are chiefs. They are worried about this allegation, about the special prosecutor. And the money they are talking about is not 5,000 cities and 10,000 cities. It's not the one that we deal with every day here. It is thousands of dollars, $600,000. That's what they're asking for. The allegations. That's why we don't believe it. That's the reason. In fact, when you hear the figures, you will doubt it. But these are the things that people are saying, that the guy is collecting money. Now, I'll come to a few more things. Let's deal with it. Kisi Ajaben. Let's deal with it. Which one is this? The High Court case. Let's just look at the High. We'll finish soon. We'll be wrapping up. What else do we have? Oh, we have to wrap up. We have a lot more politics to share. In its ruling, the High Court agreed with the plaintiff. Is that the beginning? Okay. High Court quashes OSP's report implicating Colonel Damoah in the LaBianca case. It says, in its ruling, the High Court agreed with the plaintiffs and found that the OSP had exceeded its authority in making the adverse findings. The court also granted an order of prohibition, restraining the OSP from further investigating Damoah and Che in connection with the LaBianca case. The lawyers for the plaintiffs, Bob Sanyaya, welcomed Okay. The court awarded 10,000 cedis to him. Now here, it says that the High Court agreed with the plaintiffs that the OSP had exceeded its authority. Now, how did the court know that the OSP had exceeded its authority? Because the authority of the OSP is guaranteed in the OSP Act. It's granted, it's there, and it's guaranteed. So the court reads the act and they look at what he has done, and then they come to the conclusion that he has exceeded, and he's crying that the courts are harassing his work. He says he doesn't want to be under the court. I will tell you something about OSP, 1 minute. But before then, let's even look at the way his office is organized from the information that we picked up yesterday. Here is this guy who has employed in his office 300 people. That's a matter of public record. The OSP, Kisi Ajaben's OSP. He has employed 300 persons at a matter of public record. Now look at the distribution here. Only 10 of them are lawyers. He employs 300 in his office there. 300. on the taxpayers' money, only 10 are lawyers. Office of Special Prosecutor. What work are they doing there? Prosecutors' work. When you go to the Attorney General's division where they are prosecuting and you see 100 people, 99 of them are lawyers. Because it is a lawyer's work. It's not marketing people's work. Now check out. 80 of the people he has employed are media and research. Is he a TV station? He has employed 80 people as media and research sitting at the office of the special prosecutor. Is he a TV station? Kisi Ajabe. Even we here, Metro TV, even the TV stations at GBC, they have plenty people. Other big TV stations, TV3, do they have 80 media research staff? 80 media research at office of the president. What's he doing there? What are they doing there? And who does he work with? Those people he works with, those clad faces, the innocuous people he works with. Evil people. Yes, I'll say it. Evil again. They are evil people. Those his cabal, that's his ring. They are evil. I know them well. They are evil people. He said, that's the ring that he belongs to. They are evil people. And so he has Office of Special Prosecutor. There are 300 staff. Then he employs 80 media research. He should come and explain that. The media should be asking him, why do you have 80 people as media research? Out of the 300, only 10 lawyers. The rest of the people, 210, nondescript. That's what he has used the taxpayers' money for. And he comes and talks about corruption. Kisi Ajabe. He comes to talk about corruption. This is what he has used the taxpayers' money for. The taxpayers' money, employ lawyers and let them work. He employs 10. And then the rest is media. What does he want media, so much media about? What is it about? That's why he's holding a press conference and he holds the paper as if he's afraid of what he's saying. He doesn't have energy. When you are evil, you will not have energy. Show that tape again where he's complaining about some people have told him something. Please, let's watch it.
Indeed, I have had several calls from well-meaning lawyers admonishing me that they have heard talk that our friends who have been elevated to the bench and presiding over cases in court do not take very kindly to criticism, especially of the public calling out variety as we do. And that if the office persists in the media releases, the judges will gang up against the office and throw out all our cases. Mind you, members of the press, the collective admonition is from very senior and experienced lawyers who are men and women of the world. Collectively with the well-meaning lawyers who admonish me, we philosophize and wonder if our judges would do such a thing as gang up against the flagship public anti-corruption agency to scuttle its work for whatever reason. Our musings run along the lines of, would that not defeat the fight against corruption?
You heard him. He says that because some people have told him that the judiciary, his friends who are on the bench, they don't like press releases that are critical of them. So they will gang up against him. And he says, he comes to say this publicly. He doesn't name the person who told him. This is such a major blistering attack on the judiciary that should not be countenanced and should not even be perpetrated by a lawyer of his standing. Just yesterday, he was a lecturer at the Faculty of Law. He's a senior member of the law faculty. Just yesterday. And then you come out to be special prosecutor and you hold a press conference and say hogwash things like somebody that you don't can't mention his name told you that if you issue press release, the judiciary will gang up against. And then you proceed to make statements about that foundational statement, which is itself based on nothing, based on a rumor and absolutely nothing. This is a lawyer speaking. This is shocking. Totally shocking. A lawyer speaking says that somebody told me something. Then he goes on to make statements based on what the somebody told him. A lawyer, a law lecturer.
Should I feel frustrated and resign? I took an oath when I was sworn in. And in my life, when I take on the reins to do something, I do it to the best of my ability. I ought to say tree. Those who do not understand tree, please forgive me. They say I'm a unkwanoma. Me de me cry about for it. Me yet me to me. Why
are they always throwing pity party when they conduct evil in the dark and they come and throw pity party and speaking some tree and pity party? What was that about? The media didn't ask him. Next time, ask him. 300 people he has employed with the taxpayers' money, only 10 are lawyers. 80 are media research. I'm sure that is why he's doing press conferences. Now it's beginning to make sense. That is why he will take drone to Celia Dapaya's house and video and film as live on TV. It's beginning to make sense. That is why he will not show up in court. He doesn't show up in court. He's in China, he's in here with Ghana police. But when the court cases are done, he will come and hold press conferences because his organization is a media organization. It's not a prosecution arm. It's a media organization. And that's why some people say these spurious allegations about him, and I don't believe it, but people believe it. We don't believe it at all. That Kisi Ajabe actually collected. Okay, so they say what he does is that of the 300 people, only one of them works directly with him. Only that one person will know which cases they should do. So if you go and send a petition to special prosecutor, it's lying down. There are cases upon cases lying down. Nothing is happening with his 300 people. Then he and his guy picks up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The allegation is that the one they think that they can extort. That's the allegation. We don't believe it. But this is the allegation being made against him. And these are the things he should be concerned about. And be inviting the Attorney General to come and investigate him. The Auditor General should be called to investigate. Audit they are doing there. Audit the staff. 100 and what are they doing there? Because they are an organization, the OSP's office looks like a media house. It looks like Joy Online. And now we can understand it because they have employed 80 media and research staff for a prosecution arm, and they have 10 lawyers. Opportunity to employ 300, he employs 10 lawyers. Office of the Special Prosecutor. That's what Kisi Ajabe is doing there. That's what he's doing there. Now, the final part. We know it, but so that viewers also believe us, we are going to use the RTI to apply to the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning to give us the budget that Kisi Ajabe first submitted to the Ministry of Finance for the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Viewers, it will shock you to the bone and marrow because we have seen it. Do you know what he was asking for in the budget? The budget was something billion cedis. Bulletproof cars, Range Rover, S-Class Mercedes, Lexus 600. That's what he was asking for. We will come and show it on the touch screen and you will see it so that you will see that when you are dealing with people in wolves in sheep's clothing, you can see it. We are going to do it so that when wolves wear sheep clothing, you can see it. They will not be able to put the facade there. That facade they put there and they are reading press statement like they want to start crying. All of them are like that. All of them are like that. They are coming to cry. That facade that they put there, and then behind the facade they are doing evil. That facade, we're going to expose it. You will see it. When the thing comes, I'll come to Hagan's article in a bit. But we picked up Hagan's article as people were talking about Office of the Special Prosecutor. It's on most of the school platforms. I think I picked that from St. Peter's platform or something like that. It's on the school platforms this evening. Everybody's reading the article. I'll show you the article after we have finished our work. So that's the last part. We're going to show you Kisi Ajabe's budget. We've had this for a long time, but we keep it because we are discreet about the way we present our work. Now it's important for us to show it to viewers because now he's taking on the judiciary and giving them Ghanaians that he is righteous and somebody is unrighteous. Therefore, we're going to bring out the things that he's been doing. The budget he sent to the Minister of Finance included bulletproof cars, Range Rover, S-Class Mercedes. So he came in with a certain mindset. Only the President of Ghana is allowed to use an S-Class Mercedes as his official car. Only the President of Ghana. Kisi Ajabe says he wants to use S-Class Mercedes. Special prosecutor. You are going to be prosecuting people. You want to drive to court in S-Class and Range Rover and something. The budget he sent. In fact, the Minister of Finance, it created an uproar in the place where the budget went to. Every important person there was outraged. Every important person, he knows. Kisi Ajabe knows what I'm talking about. Because he was called by people and he was told that what is wrong with you? What kind of budget is that? He knows what I'm talking about. Important people in the society called him and said, hey, is that how you want to start your business? Is that the budget you sent to the government? That's what happened. And viewers, I'll show you the budget. Range Rover. He said he wants Range Rover 2006. What's the name of the car? Lexus 650. Bulletproof cars. All that. That's why he goes around like that, because he has media. He's recruiting media and research people. What is he looking for? What is he looking for? We are going to keep an eye on this matter, because we're not going to allow hypocrites to survive. If he does his work, he should do his work, no problem. But we are not going to allow him to be doing this pity party and calling journalists and be crying at them and telling the judiciary is worrying me. When you walk into Supreme Court starts asking you questions. You say, my lords, I've withdrawn my case. They say, no problem. You withdraw your case and come and sit down in the press conference and say the judiciary is against you. When you went to Supreme Court to withdraw your case, Sisi Adapa should sit down and tie her hands at her back. Colonel Damas should tie his hands at his back so that you run route. You run route everywhere because you are special prosecutor. Take cameras to people's homes because you are special prosecutor. And when the court brings the lid that is given by the 1992 Constitution, you say, I don't want it. I want to have absolutely no lid over me. I don't want any control over me. That's very dangerous. Kisi Ajabe is very, very dangerous to this democracy. Play the montage. Photograph. He writes, he says, a lawyer is as good as their legal ethics. A lawyer who fails to abide by the professional ethics is simply incompetent. Today, that the lawyer specify the error of law and fact. In the case of an error of law, the courts require a lawyer to detail what law was binding on the judge that they did not either consider or apply, or how the judge misapplied the relevant law. In the case of errors of fact, it is now a requirement for the lawyer to detail what evidence was ignored or misapplied from the record. I guess we're following what he's saying. He's saying that Kisi Ajabe is much ado about nothing. If you are a lawyer, you cannot question the motives of a judge without evidence. The judge is invited to do two things: rule on fact or rule on law. If he misapplies the law, you tell him, point out the part of the law that he misapplied, or you point out the part of the law that he ignored. If it's a matter of fact, you point out the evidences of the fact that he should have considered. And you do this on appeal. That's as simple as that. In the ethics of the profession of the lawyers, you don't go and sit somewhere and criticize a judge in the manner that he did with rumors. Some people have told me that. That's what he said. Let's move on. There is a sound judicial policy for this practice. He's explaining why it is so. First, when a judge is biased, they necessarily act in breach of their judicial mandate. That means they become liable for impeachment. Such an allegation wraps on the integrity, not just of the judge in question, but also of the judiciary as a whole. It therefore follows that, on the strength of fairness alone, such allegations are not made without strong evidence. Second, a judge, by their calling, is unable to respond to allegations of bias. That's the point I was making. That's the point Kisi Ajabe should know. As a law lecturer, he should know that the judge cannot respond. The judge cannot conduct a press conference. The High Court judge cannot tomorrow call the press and say, this is why I ruled against Kisi Ajabe. When we get there, then our democracy is gone. We are a banana republic. Life is nasty, bootish, and short. That's where we go to. When we get there, we are a banana republic. When we get to the place where judges are now explaining their rulings at press conferences, is that what Kisi Ajabe wants us to do? Because a judge cannot do that, lawyers are guided that you shouldn't do that too. When you have something to say about the judge, you go and say it in the Court of Appeal. You go and say it in the Supreme Court or at the Supreme Court review. And if you end at the Supreme Court review, you hold your peace in the interest of the Republican Constitution. Those people who want to bring the constitutional order down because of their selfish needs, we must point the door to them, the exit door. They should be exited. We can't have that. This republic is very tiny, and this republic is on a constitution that's only 30 years old. We can't have the danger of Kisi Ajabe telling us that the judiciary are against him, therefore he should be above the law because he's investigating corruption. When there are many allegations mounting against his own conduct, his own modus operandi, allegations upon allegations mounting against his modus operandi. Let's move on. He says, on the strength of fairness alone, such allegations are not made without a strong evidence. Okay, To the next page. Making such loose comments, therefore, injures a judge by attacking them when there ought to be knowledge that they cannot reply. Third, a remedy in law exists to address issues of bias and even the likelihood of bias. A lawyer who is competent and has suffered bias is required as part of their duties as an officer of the court to invoke the supervisory jurisdiction of a high court to remedy the situation. These are things you don't need 20 years in law, including as a teacher, to get. In fact, not getting these simple things after 20 years is scandalous. He's referring to Kisi Ajabe. That not getting these basic things is scandalous and affirms a conclusion of incompetence. I have always stated, he says, that the OSP is not merely incompetent, he is totally unethical in his conduct. That's heavy. That one is heavy. Those are not our words. Those are the words of him. We do not necessarily agree with it. We do not necessarily believe in it. But as a matter of public interest, we are sharing it with you. A reader's article and a viewer's article, a Ghanaian's article. These are the things he's saying. He says the office of special prosecutor is unethical and is incompetent. These are his words.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions?
Now, a guy is getting into some dangerous area. He said, no, hold on, viewers, hold on. He says that I have always stated that the OSP is not merely incompetent, he is totally unethical in his conduct. It comes from the same mindset with which he conducted himself as counsel for Anas. They seek to bully and intimidate, and where that doesn't work, they seek to damage the reputation of the person in the eyes of the public. That's what they do. That's what I call evil. That's evil. If that's what they do, it is what I describe as evil. He said, they seek to bully and intimidate, and where that doesn't work, they seek to damage the reputation of the person in the eyes of the public. That's what they do. That's what they do. None of the 4 cases mentioned by the OSP had any hope of survival in law. The natural impulse of any reasonable lawyer reading his arguments in those cases would have been hopeless. No wonder he could not, as a matter of law, identify a single error any of the judges made. And that's important for the journalists. I get very, very worried about these things. That's very important for the journalists. You see, journalists, public officials should not be able to feel confident to call a press conference and come and spew out anything. Journalists, I'm talking to journalists now. They are my people. It's very worrying to me. Journalists, public officials should not feel that they can take their paper and come and do a press conference and they will just get away with it. Because the guy came to allege bias. He didn't provide a single error of law to the media. And nobody asked him. Nobody asked him about Article 125. Nobody asked him about the provisions of the Constitution. He just came and just spewed out some hogwash and started pity party and speaking some trees to show that he's some patriotic guy. Really? Patriotic? I'm not sure about that. I guess next time we shouldn't pick up our OSP from the China. Oh no, that's too much. I can't even read that. We shouldn't pick someone who just wants to add the title of OSP to his CV. That I can read, but the first one I can't read it. It says we shouldn't pick up someone who just wants to add OSP to his CV. He just wants to add OSP to his CV. But it's not lost. Kisi Ajabe can recover because he was teaching criminal law. It's not lost. He just has to change his mindset. He is not God and he is not above the law. Once he gets these 2 things correct, he's fine. He is not above the law. He must know that when he's investigating a case, he will go to court and meet other lawyers. It's not a walk in the park. You are not going to court to walk in the park because you are special prosecutor. You are not going to walk to court to be met with a bed of roses because you are special prosecutor. You are going to the court for your arguments and your decisions to be tested by the law. The litmus test of the law is going to be applied to the decisions that you make. As a special prosecutor, as Attorney General, as President of Ghana, Vice President, Chief of Staff, something official, Member of Parliament, Speaker of Parliament, all the authorities in the state. Everything you do is going to be tested, even in Article 296. It says that even where it is a discretion, that discretion must occur in the following manner. Even where it's a discretion. 296 regulates what a discretion is and how a discretion within the context of the public official can be litmus tested. 296 says the discretion ought not to be capricious. It ought not to be baseless. It ought not to be this, to be that, to be that, to be that, to be that. 296 says the expression of discretion is there in the Constitution. Kissi Agyabeng is well aware of that. And then he goes to spew out this hogwash in the press conference. Oh, I guess next time we should, okay, no, I think that's it. We shouldn't pick someone ignorant journalists would applaud, even when a first-year LLB student can see, oh, he said all that. But that's what I was saying. I will not say ignorant journalists anyway. I just think that they didn't pay much attention. I don't think they are ignorant. I think our journalists are good. I think they are fine. They just didn't pay attention. And journalists, I beg you, next time, let's pay attention to these things. Let's get the Ghanaian people applauding us. That you're able to ask a good question. When I started doing Good Evening Ghana, I meet people on the street, 2002, 2006, Charlie, you asked a great question. Journalists, let's get that happening. Let's get people to Kissi Agyabeng shouldn't just walk to a press conference and just talk and go away. Ken Ofori-Atta should not just walk into a press conference and talk and go away. Interior Minister should not be able to do that. John Mahama, opposition leader, should not be able to do that. Let's raise the stakes of journalism. Let's protect the public and the Constitution with knowledge. Simple knowledge. Read the Constitution. Tell him that, Mr. Man, Article 125 is here. It says something. Have you averted your mind to it? Let him feel that he has come to the press conference and he has had to convince the media. He has had to convince them. Let us feel. Let him feel. Let a public official feel that when I went to the press conference, I needed to convince them. Let him not feel that he walks into a press conference and it's a walk in the park. No. Even if he pays for the press conference, he's entitled to pay for you. The journalists are entitled to be paid for it because it is his matter. It's not your matter. You are in your newsroom. You have your news. He has invited you to come to press conference. So if he's paying for it, it is okay. He should pay for it. That doesn't mean that you cannot ask him the critical question. You should. And he should pay a lot more for it because he has money. That's a joke. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. Okay, Kofi Hagan, your words were strong a little bit. The nice looking guy. Kofi Hagan, your words were quite strong, eh? Anyway, we have a lot of politics to do, but we have to do it because the event is Saturday, isn't it? So we have to do the politics. I'll rush through very quickly, even though it's past 11 right now. Let's get a text message on Kissi Agyabeng quickly. Antoinette, let's start with you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Real Max B says, what Kissi Agyabeng did yesterday was nothing but to court the public sympathy and paint the judiciary bad. Now, all the way from Tamale, Gariba Abdullahi says, good evening, Paul. The biggest challenge for the OSP is that, unfortunately, he takes bicycle riders' information to the court that makes the OSP to lose cases in court. The OSP should do the work and stop blaming the judiciary for losing cases. Now, Kwame Osei says, thank you very much, Paul. I thought I was not hearing well when I was listening to Kissi Agyabeng at his crying press conference. The same man who teaches criminal law at the University of Ghana Law School has suddenly forgotten his own law maxim that no suspect is guilty unless he or she is proven guilty by a competent court of jurisdiction. I consider his stance and behavior as sheer arrogance influenced by his position. Now, Safo Raphael also says the law is what the judges or the court says. Does Kissi understand this basic statement that has guided justice delivery all this while? It's unfortunate how the SP attempted to court public anger against our courts or our judiciary and the judges. Best lawyers argue their cases in the law courts and not in the media. Now, here is a long read from George Duncan. He says, Dear Paul, investigation is different from prosecution. Being a good lawyer doesn't necessarily mean you are good at investigation. More so, not every lawyer is a good prosecutor. The other day, the OSP was construed for writing long-running sentimental epistles to prosecute the government. Today, it appears the OSP is being construed for delivery of persuasive public speeches to prosecute the judiciary. I hear the OSP is now turning its focus from individual corruption cases to those related to public institutions. That type of corruption is even more complex and will need people with accredited forensic examination, IT and financial audit and other investigative expertise, not only interrogations and lawyers. I hope those ministries are not also going to turn out to be the reasons why the OSP can't be effective, efficient and successful. Lastly, Nana Kofi says the SP is certainly incompetent. You are a prosecutor, and instead of doing due diligence and prosecuting cases and people with evidence of corruption, you jump on every sentimental issue and run to court with it without proper evidence. Then you also want whoever you send there to be jailed because you are an SP and you are the one that brought the person to court. Really, you can kill all the judges and bring new ones, but you can't get everyone you send there to be jailed. He should be serious. What do you have for us?
Okay, so coming from Nana Kwesi Boateng, he says the OSP thinks he's immune to criticism. And from Real Max B, he says Kisi Ajabeng is part of those lawyers who hail the judiciary when they win cases in court. But whenever they lose a case, then the judiciary is bad. Paul, did I hear you say he's a constitutional lawyer? Coming from Dash, he says the frustration as a prosecutor is the reason why most police prosecutors always leave their accusers in prisons. Prosecutors in Ghana are simply lazy because instead of them to do proper investigation to present good evidence in court, they end up rejecting the case, hence the accuser will rot in prison. Coming from Real Max B, he says the office of the special prosecutor has been a white elephant, and earlier it is scrubbed, the better. Coming from Rebecca, she says, good evening team. Keep up the good work. I'm watching the show live from New York City. And lastly, from Corby Johnson, he says, watching live from London. The OSP must do the right thing in order to get our support and stop wasting our time with all his rebel-style approach. What do you have for us, Fatih?
Okay, so coming from Nana Kujo Asare Maxwell, he says, Paul, it will interest you to know that just yesterday at the Supreme Court, the Office of the Special Prosecutor had to withdraw an application for certiorari because they did not do due diligence before filing the case. Coming from Kuseima Osman, he says, did our parliament see the number of staff at the OSP? I'm shocked to the bone. Our monies, taxpayers' monies, Ghana. Is it that we as Ghanaians have a problem or our system is problematic? No one is above the law and certainly not the OSP. Coming from Bennett Dance, he says, good evening, Paul. This man is a pampered special prosecutor who thinks a mere allegation is sufficient enough to nail someone on the cross in the court, when as a lawyer he knows that a person is innocent until proven guilty beyond doubt. Coming from Bright Editor, he says that this Kisi Ajabeng should be investigated immediately. Also coming from Raw Max, so he says, how come upon all the cases Kisi Ajabeng is prosecuting, none of them involves NDC members? The member cabal has surrounded himself with anti-government journalists, some from Joy FM and the rest. That is how some of the information of Cecilia Dapa matter was leaked to the media. Coming from Nixon Tema, he says, Apostle Paul, those journalists who were there to cover the press are intense and upcoming journalists who doesn't have the pedigree to question him over such bogus pressure. Maybe he's a demigod, so no one should talk about him or correct him when he goes wrong. Such impunity. And lastly, coming from Papa B, says Kisi Ajabeng should be stopped from traveling. Is a waste of taxpayers' money. Angela, what do you have?
Right, the rest of our messages are fairly critical of the OSP. Yassir Arafat, watching for Attachment Note, says, the OSP, in my opinion, has lost focus of what he wants to do, wants to be very relevant, but doesn't know how to do it. He's putting the future of youths in a tight corner where future leaders would be mindful of giving such high positions to the youths. Desmond from Dokukrum says, he says, Paul, without any intention of crowning you a saint, I must say without equivocation that you're one of the best media reporters. Well, Nana Ikwama Boateng says, the special prosecutor should stop embarrassing himself with these frivolous allegations against the judges. That's very strong. He is only hiding behind the microphones to cover his shame. Is he saying that he knows better than our learned judges? When he decides to prosecute innocent people in the media, is he expecting the judges to support these acts? And from Iliwala in Tamale, he says, Mr. Paul, you always make me respect knowledge the more. Thank you so much for the education and teachings. We also have from Asiedu Jr. saying, I see Kisi Ajibing resigning soon. I wonder why you say that, Asiedu. And lastly, Joti says, Paul, I thought Thursday evening shows are supposed to be light and easy towards the weekend. Please cease fire for next week, Tuesday. Back to you.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I agree with you. Thursday shows are light. But when you have this kind of people around. Okay. Viewers, now you have to bear with me. I had a political story that I really loved. We've worked on it for a while, and I really want to share it because it will expire by Tuesday. Those of you who are not able to watch, I will thank you for watching, and then I'm sure you go to bed, but we'll put it on social media. So I'm going to look at 10 constituencies for the MPP primaries on Saturday. Without much ado, let me go straight to the touch screen. Let me try and do it very, very, very quickly so that those who want to watch can see it. Tomorrow is a holiday. We are going to be playing football, so, you do that. Oh, I dropped my microphone. Mikhail, please can you take it from me? We are sorry about that. Tomorrow I'm playing football at Legon Park early in the morning, 6 o'clock. I'm playing my new style of play is now Kobe Menu style, defensive midfielder, that kind of thing. So tomorrow I'll be there. They pass the ball to me. I'll turn around. I'll distribute it to come back to me. I'll dribble a little bit. Then I'll pass it forward. Then I run, get the ball. When the corner comes, I'll jump. I'll head it in. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Okay, tomorrow is football time. Okay, Saturday, the New Patriotic Party is doing the orphan constituencies. And so we're beginning with the analysis of some of them that are interesting so that you can keep an eye on it. And Saturday, you can keep an eye on our Facebook page. We'll be building it up as it goes on. 137 constituencies will be up for grabs for the MPP to elect parliamentary candidates for the 2024 election. Korle Klottey constituency is on my screen now. The aspirants are Prince Appiah Deborah, my good friend, Valentino Ninoy Norte, whom I expect to win, Harry Harold Korte, who is a respectable guy, and Rexford Opon Ansan. Also good. Oh, my friend from Korle Klottey, you sent me a text. You didn't tell me who is going to win the seat. He knows who he is. He sent me a text. George, Korle Klottey, please tell me who's going to win. Send me a text. Tell me who's going to win. Okay. So in the brief context of Korle Klottey constituency, the MPP only won the seat in 2000 and 2004, represented by Nia Dumante. I hope he's still around. The NDC's Senator Ajiman Rawlings will be seeking a third term following her victory over Prince Appiah Deborah in 2020 and Philip Addison in 2016. Now, this is the talk that you saw. So this is Senator Rawlings, who's an incumbent member of parliament. This is Philip Addison, and this is Valentine Ninoy Norte. This is election results for 2016. Senator Rawlings came up with 50.29% of the votes, representing 33,609. Philip Addison came up with 29,000, representing 43. And Ninoy Norte ran then as an independent candidate, and he got 3,000. Ninoy Norte is my pick for Korle Klottey, and I suspect that he's going to win the seat, and it's going to be a very big fight between Ninoy Norte and Dr. Rawlings in 2024. In 2020, the results are as it is below. Dr. Rawlings gets 39,000 and Philip Addison gets 31,000. No, 2020 was not Philip Addison, it was Prince Appiah Deborah. Philip Addison was 2016. 2020 was Prince Appiah Deborah, and he got 31,000. Okay. Dade Kotopon, Dr. Gerald Tete Nyanyofio on September 9, 2023 was acclaimed by the delegates of the constituency as the only candidate for the parliamentary seat. So I think they didn't get his photograph, or do they have it? It's going to come up. No, they don't have Nyanyofio's photograph. Oh, you should have gotten it. He's around. Okay. So that's Dade Kotopon. So these are the results for Dade Kotopon. So Dade Kotopon is an unopposed. Nyanyofio is the candidate. But let's look at the results and see whether something can happen. So in 2016, Nia Masana Mwale was defeated, having held the constituency for 2 terms. He got 30,504, and our candidate at the time, Vincent Soa Odote, got 40,000. Let me ask my producer, Terry, can you get me one of the videos of the Jama songs in either 2020 or 2016? 2020 will be Prince Appiah Deborah, the one we did in Osu, and 2016 will be the one we did in Obama. Can you find that quickly, and then let me end with that. Okay, so this is the Labadi results. So this is 2016 when Vincent Soa Odote was voted into parliament. And then here is 2020. Okay, this is Nyanyofio's photograph. Okay, so this is Gerald Nyanyofio, the MPP. He's the one running unopposed. He's a lecturer at UPSA. He, in 2020, got 41,000, and the lady, Ritana Odole Soa, got 47,000. 1,606. She's the incumbent MP in Parliament right now. She won 53%. Gerald Nanyofio is the independent, is the only candidate, so nobody's contesting. And he's going to come up against an uphill task. There's really a lot of difficulty for the ruling party in Labadi. People are talking about the hospital, which the Minister of Finance has announced that will be done, the La Polyclinic, which was pulled down. Then there's a trade fair and all that. Labadi is a swing state. It's going to be very interesting. There's an Akan group there, there's a Gang group there, there's an Airway group there. Everybody is there. We're going to keep our eye on Ladade Koto Point. It's one of my favorite constituencies because that's where I live most of my life, isn't it? Okay, so Gerald is running unopposed. Ablekuma Central is an interesting contest to look at on Saturday. Jefferson Saki, Office of the President, Deputy Director of Communication, is running. Ebenezer Nina Nate, who is the former MP for the constituency, is also running. Collins Amoa is running, and Samuel Brakon Amofa is running. It's a contest between Jefferson Saki and Ebenezer Nina Nate. We are not sure who is going to win it yet, but Saturday will determine. And this is the narrative. Ablekuma Central is a highly urbanized and cosmopolitan constituency comprising of Latebia Koshi, Mataheko, Abose-Okai, Bochui, and Kaneshi. Now, on this point, I want to make a point. I've been arguing this with the Electoral Commissioner whenever I see her. And I used to tell Afarijan the same thing. And I told Charlotte Osei the same thing. And I've been telling Jim Mensah the same thing. For journalists, you see, on election night, and this is what I've been telling them. I tell them, Chief, on election night, you give us a lot of problem with the names of some of your constituencies. So you say it's Ablekuma Central. And then we had a newsroom and we say, Ablekuma Central is where? Okaikwe North is where? Okaikwe South is where? So I asked them, why don't you name the constituency after the place? So Korle Klottey is Osu Adabraka constituency. You find a lot of that in Accra. If you go to Kumasi, you don't have that. If you go to Eastern Region, you don't have a lot of that. Even in Accra, there are some that are straightforward. Madina constituency is Madina constituency. Adenta is Adenta. Ladade Koto Ponkra, there's Lade, so it will take your mind to Labadi, so that's okay. Teshi, they call it Lejokuku. It's a traditional Gan name, Lejokuku, which is great, but for purposes of election night reporting, we want to hear Teshi constituency. Dansoman is Okaikwe something, Okaikwe something. Tema East and Tema West is straightforward. Bantama is Bantama. Ejusu is Ejusu. Achimtafo is Achimtafo. Koforidua is Koforidua. So now I say Ablekuma. I see viewers, you're all asking Ablekuma is where? Then I have to come and tell you. So when we're doing the research, I told my people that look, break down the Ablekuma. Let's know where it is. So Ablekuma is for your information. So please add your voice to this, to Jean Mensah, so that we can change the names of the constituencies in a way that makes reporting easy on election night. Because election night, Ablekuma Central is where? Okay, so note now, Ablekuma Central election night is as follows. Latebia Koshi, Mataheko, Abose-Okai, Bochui, Kaneshi. That's Ablekuma Central. Is that not a difficulty? So why don't they name the constituency Latebia Koshi, Mataheko, Abose-Okai? Why don't they name it like that? In England, Liverpool Central is Liverpool Central. Manchester East is Manchester East. So you are clear about it. Okay, that's my own pet matter. We can get to that later on. But please add your voice to it. On election night, we need to have speed and we need to be clear. Madina, then we go to Madina. Adenta is Adenta. We are clear. Ayawaso West Wogon. It is University of Ghana and Baaleshi and part of East Legon. Anyway, okay. Typically, a swing constituency, that's Ablekuma Central, has been won by the MPP in the years of 1996, 2000, 2004, and 2016. The remaining electoral areas were all won by the NDC. That's 2008, 2012, and 2020. In the 2020 parliamentary election, the NDC won with such a margin of 204 votes. So that's a big deal. NDC won Ablekuma Central with 204 only. So that's coming up for grasp. It's going to be a big deal. These are the results. So in 2016, the MPP won it. Ebenezer Nina Nate, who is also running, he won it in 2016. And Halidu Haruna of the NDC came second. But I believe in 2020 is here. 2020, Abdul Latif Dan of the NDC won it. But why do you have the same photograph with different names? Kweku, you have the same photograph for the NDC guy, but the names are different. His name in 2016, you write here, Halidu Haruna. His name in 2020, you write Abdul Latif Dan. Where are we going? Okay, all right, no problem. Madina constituency, where Susu is, there's Robert Lamte, Eric Nateye, Dr. Solomon Boate, Padmore Balfour, Japan. And Madina constituency had Sorogo losing to Alhaji Abubakar Siddiq Boniface, who has actually now left the MPP to join Alan Chamatin's campaign. He was a Madina MP. He won 54% in 2016. And then in 2020, he was heavily defeated by Francis Xavier Sosu, who picked up a constituency in a big way. He won as much as 62,000 against Abubakar Siddiq's 46,000. Adenta constituency, my darling, Mrs. Akosua Menu is running. Obimpe Kwame Nate is running. And Kwesi Obinfosu, I'm guessing Kwesi Obinfosu is Baba. I'm guessing, but I don't know Baba's name. So it's a contest between Akosua Menu and Baba. Many people want Akosua Menu to win because she's a hard-working woman. And I certainly endorse Kozi's candidature in Adenta. Those of you in Adenta who watch Good Evening Ghana, please, if I can campaign at all, vote for Kozi, okay? Vote for Kozi, yeah. If you can. Otherwise, no problem. Okay. Adenta constituency brings up interesting results, doesn't it? In 2016, Yaboabian Samoa defeated Mohammed Adamu Ramadan. Ramadan had 32,588 at 48%. Boabia Samoa had 33,952 at 50%. Then in 2020, the same two collided again in the final. They locked horns again in 2020. The results were completely different. This time, Ramadan was supremely successful. Ramadan came up with 63,436, representing 55%. And Yaboabian Samoa, who is also now incidentally left the MPP to join Alan Chematin, he had 49,000. He came at 43% and was defeated. So that's the big story. Back now, I'm home now. This is the last one I'll do tonight, maybe, because this is my home. Lejokuku constituency. Dr. Bernardo Koboy is expected to win on Saturday. Ibrahim Ajay Sowa is my friend at the office of the president. Clifford Mate Kole, I've heard of him. Niashite Olenu is a good guy, but everyone expects Koboy to win on Saturday. There's a reason why. I'll show you. This is the reason. These are the results of 2016 to start with. Benita Okiti-Dua in 2016 lost the seat after she was the incumbent at the time. She got 43,092 in 2016, ending at 48%. Dr. Okoboy got 45,000. It was very close. 45,259 at 50%. Very, very, very close contest in Teshi. Then in 2020, the reverse is true. Also very close. Okoboy is on the ballot again. And now Benjamin Ayiku gets 55,938 of the votes, representing 50.48. And Dr. Okoboy gets 54,000. The gap is bigger than Benita's gap, 54,048. Given that Osu people, Teshi people do not repeat MPs, if Ayiku wins, because he's the NDC candidate, he would have been the first MP to have been repeated after Nia J. Boy Seka. In circumstances of 92, that's a bit different. But Nia J. Boy Seka happens to be the only one who has been repeated. Dr. Okoboy is largely expected to win Saturday's contest because of how well he did and his general profile in the neighborhood and the news that came out after the election 2020, the sense of regret that some people express about the work Okoboy does and all of that, blah, blah, blah. So everyone expects Okoboy to win on Saturday and to give Ayiku a big contest for the 2024 election. Lejokuku is a place to keep your eye on in this election. Lejokuku is one of the areas where it was said that whoever wins the presidential candidate, his party wins in Lejokuku. It's only changed in 2020. MPP lost in Lejokuku, but Adodankwa Akufo-Addo was elected for the second term. So it's a place to keep an eye on, and we are going to be monitoring the big time. From this Saturday and throughout the process up to December 2024, keep your eye on us. Okay, Nungwa Krowo constituency, aspirant, Honorable Elizabeth Afole-Kwe, a pretty nice woman, and Engineer Lai Odai. I'm not so sure. I'm thinking that Elizabeth Afole-Kwe may be ahead of the contest because she's an incumbent of sorts. Here they are. Agnes Momolate is in 2016. Elizabeth Afole-Kwe defeated Agnes Momolate, the NDC candidate, by she had 51% and she got 47%. And in 2020, same candidate, she won 55%. This time, Afole got 32%. A significant gap in 2020. We don't know what's going to happen. Ejumako Enyan is some constituency. That is, I believe that's Ato Forson's constituency. Mr. Rashid Kwesi Ituafo, who lost to Kaysel Ato Forson in 2020 parliamentary election, received acclamation. So there's only one person there. Kaysel Ato Forson here, 2016, he got 53%. He won. against Ransford Kwesi Nyako of the NPP. Then in 2020, Rashid Kwesi Etufo came up, and Atuforsen increased the gap. Etufo is running unopposed. Atuforsen will also run, and we are not sure what will happen. Let's see what happens. Ivaluejura, Catherine Afeku, we wish her well. We are doing the background. We are running out of time. So, Jomoro, this Catherine Afeku in there. Catherine Afeku hopefully will be elected and will win again. Eugene Ahin is also in the contest, and we wish all of them very well. Let's take the last round of text messages. Thank you so much, viewers, for those of you able to stay. Let's take the last round of text messages, and we'll call it a day.
Okay, so we have a few proponents for Dr. Okoye. He said, John Campbell says Dr. Okoboye is the best, and Wallet GH is praying for victory for Dr. Okoboye. Benjamin Edu says, hi Paul, I think Samuel Bracco pulled out of the race. There is one Lawrence AJ also contesting at Ablekuma Central, so kindly take note of that. Okay, thank you, Edu. Now, this is a little bit out of context, but Atta Bernard says, Paul, your interview with Dr. Eva Damina has got a lot of people across the globe commending you. Kindly keep it up. I think we would have to go back to the issue of the special prosecutor. Here is a disagreement from Edward Dubaza. Lastly, he says, Paul, I totally disagree with you. The judiciary undermines our democracy and rule of law than any other institution in the country. Honestly, the judiciary is not a strong institution in Ghana at all. We have all been watching their rulings. Sarah?
Okay, so this is what Bro Max B has to say about the analysis made on Mr. Kwesi Agyapong. Says, Paul, so Kwesi Agyapong is expecting to be winning cases in court when he has people like Basintale, whom the police dismissed for engaging in some gold scandal, working for him in his office. Coming from Anju, he says, Paul, I'm absolutely proud of you and your show. Coming from Nana Kwesi Boateng, says the OSP thinks he's immune to criticism. Also, Roll Max B says, Paul.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a